AI agents can work on a computer in different ways. One such way creates none of the records digital forensic examiners use to prove if a person did something. Another way creates records that look like a person did it, even though they did not. Either way, the next courtroom excuse is already installed on ordinary computers. This warning comes from Ovie Carroll, a SANS Institute principal instructor, co-author of its Windows Forensic Analysis course and director of the Justice Department's Cybercrime Lab. Writing in a personal capacity in a new paper, he gives the excuse a name: SAIDI, short for Some Artificial Intelligence Did It. Its ancestor has been around for a long time: SODDI, or Some Other Dude Did It. That's the argument that the Wi-Fi was open. It was someone else using my account. It was someone else at the computer, or even it wasn't me. The malware did it. Anyone but the suspect, anyone but the defendant was at the keyboard. The successor here swaps the unknown human or malware for an AI assistant that the user installed or is utilizing themselves. So what did Carroll actually do? Well, using a Windows 11 machine, he placed a Word document in a OneDrive folder, instructed an AI agent using OpenClaw and running Anthropic's Claude to open the document, add a summary paragraph, and save it. The agent did the work. It just didn't work the way a person would. At least no people that I know. Maybe you know somebody who would do this. See, instead of opening Word, it rewrote the file through a programming library inside of an invisible PowerShell session. The kind of silent process that runs with no window and no click. The document changed, the changes synced to the cloud, Word launched afterward, but only to display the finished file. The forensic artifacts, the records that Windows operating system creates when a human opens a document, like shortcut files, link files, recent document lists, registry entries, those are what we go to as examiners to look for, but they're never created in this case. See, an examiner relying on them would have reported the document was never opened. The conclusion would have been false, and Carroll ran a test to show how easy that could be. While it never has, even more so now, a file in your folder doesn't prove you touched it necessarily. Digital evidence disputes often come down to evidence of attribution, or who was at the keyboard or behind the keypad. Employment cases turn on who copied the client list. Fraud investigations turn on who edited the invoice. And for decades, examiners answered with the digital equivalent of footprints, the trail of records an operating system, a device leaves behind when a person clicks through or does different activities on a computer, going through their folders and files. But it's further complicated because, yes, some agents don't leave these footprints. They don't walk through the front door at all, while a different agent might drive Word the way a person does and leave records that look human. And see, that's why the reverse error is just as dangerous. A modified spreadsheet sitting in someone's personal folders may look like proof of personal action, but it may be the work of an AI assistant acting on vague instruction or no instruction anyone can remember giving. See, Carroll describes the two failure modes plainly: an examiner who finds no records and concludes nothing happened, and an examiner who finds a file and concludes the user made it. Innocent people can be blamed for what software did under their account, while guilty people can point to the AI copilot their employer installed for them. So what actually answers, did the AI do it or was it a person? Well, at least in Carroll's test, the truth was recoverable. It just wasn't where examiners usually go to look. See, the file system's change journal recorded the rewrite to the second. The event log captured the silent PowerShell session, and the agent kept its own session logs, preserved and typed instructions verbatim. 3 independent records, each created by different systems, telling one consistent story. And look, this is critical. Answering a SAIDI defense of some artificial intelligence did it is going to be, in many cases, after the fact device work, digital forensics, post-mortem work. Looking at change journals, event logs, agent sessions, and then the artifacts on the devices that were alleged to have been used to do the activity, to create the document, to prompt the agent. While the logs in Carroll's test established that an instruction was given and that the agent carried it out, they didn't establish who typed the instruction or whether that person understood what the agent would do. That would require additional work on those electronic devices to have a more holistic picture of what actually occurred. With all that said, though, courts are already bracing for more machine-made evidence, and they're not ready as it is. Federal courts saw part of this coming, then hesitated. Proposed Federal Rule of Evidence 707 would hold machine-generated evidence to the same reliability standards as human expert testimony. And after mixed public comment, the Rules Committee pulled it back for further study. Agent attribution fights, is it AI or is it human, are going to reach courtrooms years before any rule is ready, most likely. And courts are already struggling with ordinary digital evidence today, still, whether that be the admission of video evidence that should never make it to court or should be challenged, or things like pictures or screenshots of text messages, which I've been talking about for well over a decade and many digital forensics experts have. But when it comes down to it, an agent will never explain any of this from the stand. It can't. And the Federal Rule of Evidence 603 requires every witness to swear an oath designed to bind the conscience. Software has no conscience to bind. Carroll's line on this in his article is one worth remembering. Without accountability, there is no testimony, only output. Well, the agents are already here, reading files and drafting documents, using ordinary user accounts on ordinary computers. Sometimes they act like people, sometimes they act really weird and do the work in a different way. But somewhere in that activity sits the first case that's going to turn on whether a person or their AI agent touched that file and did something with it. If the examiner stops at the missing footprints or looks at the footprints and assumes they had to have been a person, the cost of the wrong answer can land on whoever needed the right one. I'm Lars Daniel, digital forensics expert. Thank you for joining me today. If you want to hear more of this, please like and subscribe. Till next time.